All right, so my name is Lance, and this is the very first episode. I want to thank Miss Marissa for being the first person to ever do this with me. And what's actually funny, you guys don't know this, is that her computer is broken, and her boyfriend's computer is broken as far as the webcams are broken, right?
Yes.
And so she's actually sitting in my living room. Which is So this is a little bit of trickery here going on. But yeah, so I'm Lance. This is Yes, It's Natural TV. And this is Marissa. A little bit of a background on her. And by a little bit, I mean like this much. She is can I say like a professional pageant contestant? Is that something that I could say?
Um, I don't know if that's even a real thing, but we can make it a thing now.
Yeah, yeah. Like what is like what is the title of that? Is it?
I don't know if there's like an official one. I hear pageant queen, pageant girl, pageant contestant. I don't know. I just say that I like to compete in pageants. I don't know if there's like a title for it, except for the titles that you win, I guess.
What professional? So
Serial pageant contestant.
yeah, because it's like if somebody asked me like, what do you do? Like, oh, I'm a photographer. So it's like, what do you do? Oh, I compete in pageants. Is that what you would say?
Well, no, because it's a hobby. It's not. I haven't made a life out of it, I suppose. It's like you know how when people are like, "This is Marissa. She does this. Say fun facts about yourself." It's like one of my fun facts. Like I'm
Ah,
a collegiate track athlete and I compete in pageants. Those are my two fun facts.
yeah. Speaking of being, I don't even know where this is. This is the first one, so talking about this beforehand, like I have no idea how to start this off, and I guess it just started because it's recording and we're talking, so I guess we'll just run with this. But I guess maybe I should try to give a little bit of basis before we get into this. So Yes, It's Natural TV is a series that I'm starting where I'm interviewing men and women who have natural hair and they just love it. And she is one of the people that I actually met through Instagram because we did like a little bit of a photo shoot and she absolutely killed it. And that's why I wanted to go to with the track athlete because we were doing the photo shoot and I was just looking, I was like, damn, we should have done like a fitness thing because she definitely you work out too a lot, right? Like you go to the gym and you lift things and put things down, right?
Yes. I lift heavy things.
I lift a lot of heavy things and I put a lot of heavy things back down. And when we were at the photo shoot, I was just looking and I was like, okay, you have abs, you have thighs, you have like arms, you have shoulders, you have back, you have all of this stuff. Like we definitely need to do like an actual fitness photo shoot. But I guess we should start off with the natural hair thing because you said that when we did our photo shoot, that was your first time when you actually had your hair like you have it right now, just natural, curly, doing its thing. You said for the most part, most of your shoots that you've done have been like with your hair straight. So uh, what do you think like the difference was as far as your mentality, if there was a difference between when you were doing the shoot with your hair like curly and versus when your hair was straight?
Sure. So all of my previous shoots, my hair was straight more so that it was easy for um, the whoever was doing my hair and makeup at that time to be able to style it. And I do like to be able to do different things with it, and that's more applicable when my hair is straight. But it was really nice to actually have it just, my natural curls, because I do love my natural curls. I'm not like ashamed of them or anything. And it was nice because during the shoot, I didn't have to worry that, oh, the style came out, the curls that they used with the flat iron fell out. I knew that my hair was doing its own thing and it looked fine.
You know, it's funny because I actually speak to my mom about this subject a lot, like natural hair and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, well, I was in LA recently, and or no, actually, she lives in Atlanta, so her friend just got a car, and then she could have the top down, and her friend's hair is natural, so then she's like, yeah, let's go ride in the car, blah blah blah, and then my mom was like, no, I just got my hair done. There is no way I can deal with any of that stuff, and I'm just
Yep.
like if you just had your hair natural, then if it were to just get blown around, then the way you solve that is you get out the car and you go like
You
this.
just do one of these and you're good to go.
And that's what kills me. Like, I don't know if you've ever come across this, but have you ever heard people say that they don't want to go natural because it's too hard to maintain? Have you ever heard that before?
I have, but I don't know if I necessarily understand that. I understand that it's hard to maybe do different things with it depending on the the types of curls you have or the length of your hair. It's kind of hard to be versatile. You can only just kind of do one type of thing with it. But I wouldn't say it's hard to maintain. I would say it's easier to maintain. It's more difficult for me to maintain my hair when it's straight because I get out of the shower and it was so humid, so I have to kind of re-straighten parts of it, and that means I'm putting more heat on my hair, which is damaging it. So that seems more difficult to me than just kind of, you know, throwing one product in there and just doing one of these and like ready to go. So, I mean, I don't know about it being harder to maintain per se.
Yeah, I don't. That's one of the main things that I keep hearing, and I don't really understand that concept because, like, for me with my hair, the way it is right now, whenever I used to have it shorter, I'd have to brush it all the time, and I'd always have to get haircuts like and this is, for guys, like every 2 weeks or something like that because it gets a little bit too big and then it gets a little bit too frizzy and it just doesn't look like it's in place, and I've got to put all these products in and put a do-rag on to keep it like flat, and then don't nobody touch my hair because it's on point right now, and
Yeah.
got to constantly brush it and stuff, and then with this, I just literally just woke up, put some water in it, went like this with a towel. Then I actually trying this new product because I keep putting coconut oil in my hair, and I'm like, you know what? I was looking at this girl's Instagram account, and I was like, and for you too. I remember the first time you came over, I was like, damn, your hair smells really, really nice. And then you came over today, and it's the same thing. And then I also was looking at this girl's Instagram account, and she was like, oh man, I love the smell of this product. And I was like, wait a minute. Instead of just using coconut oil, I need to go out there and experiment and get another product to make my hair smell good. But as a guy, I kind of limits me because there's a lot of stuff out there that smells very girly and very like fruity, and I'm like, I want to stay away from that. So this is one that I'm trying right now. I'm covering it up on purpose because once this video, because it's gonna get like 1 million views, you know that, right? We're gonna get
Obviously. I already know
because,
that.
because the production value is just 100% on point right now. Um,
High budgeted.
this product, it actually smells pretty good. Actually, after this is over, when I open the door, I'm gonna ask you what you think this smells
That about
like.
it, yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the things. Like, do you have any products that you think, number one, work well with your hair? Because I know that there's some products you put in there and it's just like it'll just flatten your hair and it just won't give it any volume.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are some products that you like that smell like really, really, really good?
I really like anything that kind of has Moroccan oil or argan oil in it. I like the smell of. Um, and there's, what is it? It's like the Olive Miracle, like kids stuff. It's like the kids leave-in moisturizer, and it's pink, and it smells like candy. So I really like to use that one.
It smells like it. Are we talking about like liquor, like cotton candy? Cotton candy?
A little bit actually.
Huh. That would actually, yeah, because um, I'm a person that says I love smell, and I need to take care of my house right now. I'm supposed to actually vacuum because I use like this stuff that you put on the carpet and you just
Hmm.
leave it there for a little while, and then you vacuum it up, and then your whole house smells like you had 16 maids come through and spray Febreze and just like sprinkle fairy dust all over the place and just make it smell absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's just something about good. I don't know. This is there's just something really, really awesome about somebody who knows how to just like make themselves smell really, really nice. I mean, obviously, you don't want anybody to sit up there and just smell like they ain't never taken a shower in
Yeah,
forever.
right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like if you choose the right smell, I feel like it just enhances that person. Like, have you ever, I don't know if your boyfriend or have you ever just like walked by, especially you work at the mall, like some guy just walks by and he just smells really, really nice and you're just like, Like, what the hell is that? Like, who is that?
Yeah, once in a blue moon, and I only say that because I do work in a place where there's cologne sprayed all over the place all the
Ah,
time. So like my senses are probably kind of off at this point, but I do know what you mean. Definitely like, and then when you do come home to your significant other and you do kind of like adore their natural scent. That's always really nice too. But like definitely like hair products and colognes, like when you like are somewhere and you just smell it and you're kind of like, oh, who's that? They smell good.
that's the exact reaction. Okay, so I just realized that I next time I do this, I really need to have more of a structure to this because I keep bouncing from topic to topic to topic. But I actually wanted to talk to you more about your history with pageants because I know that me and you have talked a couple of times about the fact that there is this like stigma out there, you know, the honey boo boo and stuff like that. And I have to admit, like from my ignorance, I look at these pageants and some of the ones that are on TV, and it's just like, you know, they're asking these questions that these girls shouldn't really know too much about or don't know too much about, and it seems like their answers are kind of scripted, and it also seems like they're just out there to show off their bodies and stuff like that. So what are some of the things that you have to say about some of those stigmas versus like the other pageants that are out there that are geared more towards what, you know, how much brains and intelligence you have basically instead of just like prancing people around? At least that stereotype.
Right. Absolutely. So I think what people fail to realize is, and I was actually just discussing this yesterday with some of my friends who do compete in pageants as well. There was an article that was posted about a girl, or it was a girl that wrote the article, and she was explaining how she thinks that it's absolutely just despicable that women compete in pageants for scholarship money for college and explaining why it's kind of an exploitation of women and such and such and such. And, many people do share that opinion. And of course, this woman herself has never, been to a pageant or seen a pageant or have any friends that compete in them. She just really didn't, in my opinion, she really didn't do her research before writing this article. And what I forever defend for the world of pageantry is that first off, I'll start by attacking the swimsuit competition because that's what everybody, oh, she's just walking on stage in heels and a bathing suit and you have to be skinny and pretty. And, why doesn't anybody say that about fitness competitions? There are women that, get all these like hardcore spray tans so that they go from being super white to brown and like walk around in a bathing suit and nobody says anything about that. And why doesn't anybody say anything about, celebrities like Nicki Minaj or anybody like that? They literally just stand in front of a camera and shake their butt. And that's how they make money. But girls that compete in pageants, the swimsuit competition is actually about lifestyle and fitness. And you don't have to be skinny to win. And I've seen people who aren't so-called skinny do really well in that competition and win a pageant. It's about, being on stage and being comfortable in your skin and showing off the body that you worked hard to achieve, not the body that you forced yourself to become so that you could please somebody else. So that's one thing that I'm always defending as far as pageants. And now the rest of it, you do have your stereotypical Miss Teen South Carolina where they asked her about the maps and she completely did not answer the question correctly at all. And since then, everyone thinks that of every single pageant girl. And it she while she may not have known how to answer that question, I guarantee you could probably go up to a lot of people on the street and they might be put under pressure and not be able to answer that question. And that's in front of one person. Now, this girl was in front of thousands of people in a stadium. And she, not only in front of those thousands of people, but millions of people watching at home. I think that kind of creates some sort of nervousness to maybe, trip over your words and not answer a question correctly. It doesn't mean she has 3 brain cells. So that also as well. So, and with that being said, these girls that compete, they really do their research, and not just for the pageant, but so they're well aware of what's going on in the world, politically, socially. so that not only so that they can answer this question correctly and not embarrass themselves, but so that they know for themselves. And I know a lot of people who don't compete in pageants who have no idea what's going on in the world, no idea what's going on with no idea what's going on with politics. Their apps only consist of social media, whereas there are a lot, like every pageant girl I know has a CNN app. They have a BBC app. They have Drudge Report, and they're constantly in the know of what's going on. So I think that, and then you have the interview as well, where you're being asked questions not only about what's going on around you in the world, but questions about you and the type of person you are, because they're genuinely interested in who you are and what you're doing to better your community locally, statewide, or nationwide. Because what is not what is looked over is that most of these women are doing really great things for their communities that help other people. And that's what comes into part of getting scholarship for college, not just walking on stage in a bathing suit. So there's so much that goes into being a pageant girl, and I don't think it's a degradation of women at all. I think it's an empowerment of women. I don't understand why we should be shamed for being confident in ourselves and wanting to share with an audience what, we've accomplished and how much we know.
You feel like people are actually are shaming these women, like, because I mean, for me, I don't necessarily think that they're shaming. I just think that from what the little pageants that I have seen on TV, like asking them questions about what they think should be happening in Iraq or something like that, I don't really think that that has anything to do with anything necessarily. I think it's just some of those questions are just based off of what's going on right now. But I do feel that, again, this is coming from somebody who doesn't, I've never been to a pageant. All I've done is seen them on TV, so I have a lot of ignorance on this. But I guess what my question is who do you think is creating the ignorance in the situation? Is it just me, the viewer, like viewing this, or do you think it is the TV that is portraying a certain image in order to make sure that they get a lot of views, just like a lot of TV shows do, or a lot of things that are on TV do? I guess, does that make any sense, that question?
Yeah, no, I completely get what you're asking. So my answer to that is that I think it's a bit of both. I think it's that the media definitely portrays pageantry in a terrible way often, like Honey Boo Boo, Toddlers and Tiaras. Any real pageant girl just really is not a fan of those shows, because what they don't explain is that there are two different types of pageants. There are natural pageants and glitz pageants, and what they put on shows like Honey Boo Boo and Toddlers and Tiaras are all the glitz, and how these girls are, their moms are putting them in these pageants that they may or may not want to be in, and just recording all the drama. There are girls that do glitz pageants who genuinely want to be there, genuinely want to do it, and their moms don't force them to be on that stage. But of course, there are moms who force their daughters to be on that stage, and that's what they're going to show on TV, because people thrive on drama. So that's what they're going to show. But what they don't explain is that women and girls who compete in natural pageants, they're not allowed to wear makeup before the age of 13. They're not on stage doing all of these weird things. And,
Wait a minute, what was that? What was that?
These things that they do on, like, Toddlers and Tiaras, blowing kisses and such, and in my opinion, looking goofy. And that's what they want to show on TV. So, of course, viewers aren't necessarily going to go, when they see that, they're not going to think, oh, that's probably not the whole story. I'm going to do more research so that I know what pageantry is really like. Of course, this is what they're going to think, and, I don't blame them. But at the same time, like I said, there are natural pageants where you can't wear makeup before the age of 13. They genuinely want to know about the girl that you are. They're going to interview you. And these girls are going to develop these interview skills that they're going to take with them outside of pageantry, such as getting scholarships for school, such as applying for their careers and interviewing for them. But there are pageants such as the Miss America pageant, which is a scholarship organization that people kind of don't even bother to watch because of shows like Honey Boo Boo and Toddlers and Tiaras.
Oh, wait, is the Miss America is the one that's usually on TV, or there's like Miss America, there's Miss USA, there's Miss Universe, and all of those are on like ABC, right? So you're saying that the Miss America is a scholarship pageant, right?
Correct.
And so the Miss USA, so what's the difference between the Miss USA and the Miss America?
So, like I said, the Miss America pageant is a scholarship pageant. So there's so much money that goes into it for scholarship for education. Um, and the difference between that as well is that there's a talent competition in the Miss America pageant. And it's just there's a lot of charity that goes into it as well. One of their big platforms is the Children's Miracle Network. And to compete in the pageant is actually there's no entry fee. It's just you have to make a donation to the Children's Miracle Network. And then that's the kind of the end of it. Whereas you compete at a local title, then you compete at state, and then you compete at Miss America. There's not a level after Miss America. And then the Miss USA and Miss Universe, like Miss America, you can have some states have local, and then there's state, and then Miss USA. But Miss USA actually goes on to Miss Universe, and they do give out scholarships with that pageant as well. Just it's more kind of surrounded on more glamour and more modeling and things like that. So a lot of, kind of print work with modeling. You get a lot of exposure, I suppose. So one's a bit more glamorous than the other. I wouldn't necessarily consider it glitz, and it's definitely not. You still have to, know what's going on around you in the world so that you can talk about that in interview for onstage question.
Yeah.
But there are some differences between that and Miss America.
See, I'm glad you actually brought that up because that is kind of what I see when I watch some of the pageants that are on TV, where it's like, a lot of it is, the girls are getting judged by the way they look and like a certain outfit or something like that. And then they have these talent competitions, which you can tell some of these girls don't even really have that talent. They just practice and then they're asked these questions. So it kind of, in my head, it's kind of like putting these girls in a situation where all they're basically being judged off of is what they look like because they don't have some of them have a talent, but they don't necessarily have a talent and they don't necessarily know what's going on. But then you're telling me that the ones that they do the almost the opposite aren't really necessarily being shown on TV. Is that right?
I suppose. And you're going to have people who don't understand, who don't necessarily agree with being judged. But I mean, if you think about it, if you go in for an interview for a job and there are other people interviewing as well, because essentially you are competing / interviewing for the job of Miss America or Miss USA.
Well, I would say all of your life you're selling yourself. So you might as well it's not even, so those people that are sensitive to that just haven't really developed the inner confidence to understand that some people are going to like me, some people aren't. For those who don't, I don't have time for you. It's not necessarily that I don't care about you, it's just I don't have time for you. And for the people that do, it's like, okay, well, I appreciate that, let's build something together, let's move forward with this, because all of your life you're being judged. I mean, we're visual creatures by nature, so that's just the way it is.
Absolutely. And with that being said, like I was saying before, you're interviewing against other people for a job, and the employer is going to pick the person that they think will best represent their company. And they have their own criteria for that as well. And they're not going to necessarily hire everybody. So it's almost the same thing with Miss America, Miss USA. They want someone who's going to represent their organization the best. But another thing that I feel like people don't understand is girls who do pageants, they have the thickest skin. They really do. And they do these pageants for fun because they enjoy doing them and not because, I need to win this crown. I need to be the best. I need to be this, that, and the other. I've done pageants since I was 4, and my favorite thing about doing them wasn't the crowns and the trophies that I won. It's the friends that I've made from across the nation and that have become lifelong friends. So where almost every state I go in, I know somebody because of pageants. I actually, since I moved here from Illinois to California, one of my good friends out here that I knew before I got here, I met when we competed against each other in 2010 in a pageant. We're still friends. I actually had lunch with her yesterday. So, and that's another thing that just people don't understand is the other skills that you...
I didn't get invited? What's up with that?
We work at the same mall.
That's messed
so
up.
we had breaks at the same time. Sorry, you don't work at the mall.
It's only like mall people exclusive, right?
All
Is that what it
employees
is?
only.
Whatever, man. I'm a hater on that. But that's and that's another thing when I first got a chance to talk to you, like you were able to open my eyes up to that there's this whole other realm of pageants that are out there that are actually not necessarily about all that glitz and that glamour and all of this other stuff. And then there's pageants out there like the natural pageant you said. So is it an actual like a you said and it's before the age of 13 is what the natural pageants are. So what happens after 13? Do they turn into
No,
like a
just
different?
it's not necessarily that before the age of 13 it's natural pageants. Just there are some specifically that I know of that they don't let girls put on makeup before the 13 to 15 age group. So actually before they go into interview, if they think that you're wearing makeup, they will swab your face with a cotton swab because they don't want these young girls going in with makeup on or fake hair, fake eyelashes, none of that. They just want to see this genuine young girl as a young girl should be. Not saying that older girls shouldn't be genuine either. Just obviously the older we get, we really like to play with makeup and eyelashes and things like that. But I mean, my mom, even outside of pageants, I wasn't allowed to wear makeup until I was 13. So why should I put on makeup when I'm on a stage in front of people when I'm 10, 11, 12?
I have a question about that. What is the stigma of like, you know, you don't wear makeup, when you have to, what is the reason women think, or some women think that you should have to wait until a specific age in order to wear makeup? Like, what does makeup like symbolize? Because,
You know,
you know what I
I'm
mean?
not sure why a majority or why our society thinks that, but from my personal point of view, my mom is more old-fashioned, and I think her generation kind of instilled that into us, whereas, you know, makeup is for older women, and I remember I tried to wear eyeliner once when I was like 11 and my mom did not let me leave the house. She told me that I looked inappropriate because I had too much black eyeliner on. And so I don't know, maybe that's just how they were raised. I mean, I also think that maybe perhaps society thinks that because they don't want girls to think that they need makeup to feel good about themselves or need makeup to feel pretty or anything like that. And I understand that to an extent, but I also feel like if girls want to wear makeup and they feel confident and comfortable in makeup, why tell them that they can't? So I understand both sides of it. But I also understand like when you're a young girl, it's nice to be a genuine kid and not
Hmm.
kind of be putting all this makeup on at such a young age and be worrying about what you look like.
Yeah, that's when you started talking, I kind of started to come to that conclusion that maybe for the most part because that's from a guy's point of view, and this guy's point of view, I should say. I feel that you can kind of possibly get caught up in that trap if you're not really taught at a young age, or just taught in general, or think in a certain way that it's like I'm not pretty without me wearing makeup. I feel like that's a very easy trap that people, I was going to say women, but there's some guys out there,
There are plenty.
that's like you can feel pretty and feel like yourself and feel and be happy without wearing makeup. And that's why as I've started to do photography and stuff like that, I've started to, because I used to be like 100% against makeup. I would prefer, and I still do prefer a girl to wear either very little or no makeup. But instead of looking at it as something that's like bad, like maybe she's trying to hide something behind, like, she's becoming her like alter ego because she has on a lot of makeup and she just feels more confident about herself. I'm starting to look at it more of just like, that's a look, because if you wear certain colors or do a certain thing with a certain outfit and a certain this and a certain that, it gives you like a look. And I never really started to think about that until I started to do the photography side of things. And, looking at what makeup, and that's another thing too, it's like they're called makeup artists. it's an art, because when I'm editing my photos and I have to do certain things like correcting color and correcting skin and stuff like that, I'm just looking at this and it's just like this is just an art form, and it's fun. And the main thing that the makeup stuff really comes down to is like, is the girl confident in her own skin? Because I've met girls that have absolutely zero confidence and they have all the makeup on in the world, and the exact opposite. It's like there's girls that have tons and tons of confidence and they have tons and tons of makeup on. So it really just matters like about the person that is learning the makeup and how confident they are.
Yeah.
And again, I have to keep remembering to say the person because is that you that was telling me about a drag show?
I don't think so.
No, but yeah,
It might have been, but I don't think so.
I was in Hillcrest, and there's these drag queens that walked by, and they had on all this makeup, and they were just like these confident, really cool people. And I think of RuPaul and makeup, and it's just like these people, whether it's drag queens or girls, it's like it's all really about having fun and just being confident in who you are, and just let's just go out there and have fun. But you said you got to go to what time you got to be at work?
1.
Oh man. Do you think we have a quick minute to talk about black or mixed women in pageants or women who have natural hair in pageants?
Yeah.
So, because I'm not really, usually when I turn on the TV, it's like straight hair, straight hair, straight hair, straight hair. And unless it's like from around the world, I'm not really seeing too many women that are not Caucasian. So have you noticed in your time in pageants and stuff like that, that it kind of seems to be the same as far as the diversity is very low, or are you starting to see it pick up? Or, yeah, what's your experience with that?
Growing up biracial, when I first started pageants, it was obviously, and of course I was young as well, but it was never anything that I really paid attention to until people brought it up to me. And I think until age maybe 13, I had never really straightened my hair to compete in pageants, and I still placed really well. And I didn't win, and I don't think it was because of my hair or anything like that. It was just because I wasn't fully prepared. And I've seen diversity within pageants, but I've also had people, really, people often play the race card in pageants, and for the most part, I don't agree with them. Like, oh, she won because she's white, and she didn't win because she's this ethnicity and such and such. And, but that, I feel like that comes with pageantry. You have sore losers in general, and people who just don't want to accept that somebody was better than they were. And that's in any sport. Some people just don't want to accept that someone was better than somebody else. And I hear guys fight all the time about which basketball player is better than the other, and everyone's going to agree to disagree in everything.
No, LeBron James is the best like that.
Okay, all right. But because I am biracial. My dad is white and my mom is black, and I've won a lot of pageants, and I don't think that the color of my skin has anything to do with it. And I've had a mom tell my mom that she thinks that the reason I do so well is because I'm half white and have European features, and my mom was beyond offended.
Wait, somebody those words came out of somebody's mouth?
Yes.
Okay.
SMH.
I just like, yeah, I don't.
But that's and so from my point of view, and that was that person's point of view, I don't agree with it. But from my point of view, I've always seen pageants as the girl who deserves it the most wins. And I've seen all ethnicities in that position. So I think that it's a matter of perspective. I think it's a matter of, how you view the situation, but I've never seen a pageant or situation where somebody placed differently than somebody else because of their ethnicity or anything like that.
I'm still kind of not caught off guard, but like, so like that lady actually, it's like, I don't, I mean, I can understand. because the thing is like there are people like that lady out there where I'm pretty sure that if she was a judge or something like that, she would probably look at somebody such as yourself or somebody who is any other race besides white and probably not pick them because that they're not white. Um, uh, and
And that's why she's not a judge.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't want this to get turned into like one of those like
One of
yeah,
those conversations.
yeah, one of those conversations where it's just like, man, blah blah blah, black people are not represented, blah blah blah, or mixed people, or just people of color. But I mean, it does exist out there, and but it's good to hear that your vision of what your experience has been like hasn't you haven't had to deal with any of that because like you said, you've seen people of all races and all backgrounds and all ethnicities, whether it's mixed or pure, even though there's probably nobody that's pure anymore
Yeah, what
unless you
is
live in
that
some kind of like
anymore?
tribe or something like that. But yeah, it's very, very good to hear that that is the case because, like I said, when I turn on the TV is telling me a completely different story as far as because, but I think like recently, these past couple of years, I think like a Indian a woman of like Indian ethnicity won Miss USA, or they've started
Miss
to get it.
America.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They've started to get it to the point where people that are from other countries or of another race besides Caucasian are starting to win, which is definitely a good thing.
I just wish that I'm gonna have to start keeping you updated with the pageants that I go to and my friends do and compete with because the only ones that are televised are Miss America, Miss USA, and like Miss World. And there are a million different systems out there that just aren't televised, but a lot of them are streamed live online. And if everybody was able to watch those, they would see, how diverse pageants really are. And, like I said, I've seen all different types of ethnicities like be very successful in pageants. Uh, and I've seen it within the Miss America organization and Miss USA and Miss Universe pageant as well. But just there are so many other pageants out there that, they stand for something amazing and have very great women, representing their titles of all different faiths, backgrounds, ethnicities. And I just wish that people who don't know about pageants and are so quick to judge pageants knew about all the pageants out there and all of the um, different types of everything that you can find. So I'll have to keep you updated on them.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to subscribe to. You should make an app on like pageantry, and then I'll just get that app, and you can just update me on everything. And I promise you, I will read. I'm just gonna read everything that you post up there.
Yes.
But no, you said that you have a pageant this weekend, right? Right down the street.
Yep, on Friday I will be competing for Miss Mission Beach.
Is it actually on the beach, or is it like a hotel or something?
It's at Marina Village Conference Center, which is like right along the bay. I don't know what anything's called here from Chicago, where it's just Lake Michigan. So, um,
Yeah. Well, if
yeah.
you text me, let me know. As long as I'm feeling okay, I'll definitely come through and take some pictures and see, because I've never been to one before. And you said is this on the basis of a natural pageant show where it's like not as much makeup, or is this just,
Well, this one, honestly, it's very much just about, um, there is a swimsuit competition. The competitions for this one are swimsuit, casual wear, and cocktail attire. And they do have an onstage question, and there is an interview. But this pageant is a non-for-profit organization, so, you don't have to pay for tickets to enter. Anyone can come watch, but they do accept donations. And their platform is adaptive sports in the San Diego area. So whoever does win Miss Mission Beach, and then the first runner-up and the second runner-up, they spend their year doing all kinds of community service throughout the San Diego area, making all kinds of appearances and participating in the adaptive sports. So it's all for a good cause. So, but with that being said, whoever does win Miss Mission Beach, they are sponsored to compete for the Miss Greater San Diego USA pageant, which is part of the Miss USA pageant. So that side of it will be a little bit more glamorous. But this pageant here is just all about, looking for someone who's going to represent the title well and really participate in all of the appearances and community service.
Well, I feel like I'm on the spot because this is being recorded still. Hopefully, I hope it's still being recorded. Um, that I'm on the spot now that I have to go. What time is this at?
It's at 7 o'clock.
Okay, at night or morning?
Night.
Okay, okay.
Not in the morning. Ugh.
Well, you get up early and send out
Yeah,
text
I mean, I'll
messages.
probably be up at 7 in the morning, but it starts at 7 at night.
Hopefully one day I can get there. All right, so if people want to find out, because again, we're getting like a million trillion views on this video.
Yes.
It's even though it's like a
Before
40-minute
Friday.
long. This is another thing too. It's like this is a 40-minute long video. I've got to figure out a way to. I don't even know. I don't know. You know what I need to do too? Is like I need to turn these things into podcasts. Just audio, yeah, audio podcast or something like that. I don't know. Because I feel like a lot of people on YouTube they have very short attention spans. So nobody's going to really sit here and watch something for 40 minutes. But I do. I spend my time watching things for 40 minutes if it interests me. Would you?
As
Would
long
you
as
watch this?
if you, of course, if you have a good catchy headline on it
Yeah.
that causes enough controversy, someone will watch it for
Oh,
the
I've
full
been
40
thinking.
minutes
I
and
think
share
I've
it.
been thinking this entire time, like a title for this, something about like is there is there is something like is there still racism or is there racism in pageantry against minorities or something like that, or what should I and again this is just clickbait. This is just clickbait. What do you think? Because I
I
want to
mean,
say
that sounded really good to me. So probably something along those lines.
yeah, but since this is like natural hair, I want to say something like bring that in there as well. Something like, is there still is there still discrimination towards mixed women with natural hair in pageants? There it is. Is that good? You hate it. You
No,
hate
I
that
don't
title.
hate it. I know that you'll work on that and
uh,
you will make it concise.
no, I just need it for the clickbait for this. But anyways, if people wanted to find you, how can they stalk you and figure out what's going on in your life?
Well, they can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is MissRiss86, MISSRISS86. And then my Twitter is the same, just MISS_RISS86. I'm always posting stuff about pageantry, what I'm up to with it, keeping other people updated on pageants I'm not competing in. Just the pageant guru over here.
All right, yeah, and all of her, if you somehow made it to the end of this, all of her information is going to be in the description because we're literally at like 45 minutes. All of the information is going to be in the description box below as well as me. My information is going to be down there below. So I want to thank Miss Riss for being the guinea pig on this, and I'm pretty sure we'll have her back on one of these days once I get everything ready to go and everything is up and running and I have like an actual like structure to this, I'm gonna bring you back on and we'll talk about what's been going on lately in your
Perfect.
life.
Awesome.
So this is the part where we're supposed to end it. I have no idea how to do this, so I am just
You need a
gonna
theme song.
I'll let you sing. Yeah, sing us out.
No, I will not sing
So
that.
I'm just gonna say bye and wave like this, and you can do the same thing, and then I'll just hit the stop button over here.